Hi guys, it's Amy. This video is going to be all about my CRPS journey so far. I'm going to be talking about when and how I first got CRPS, when I was diagnosed, and everything from then to now basically. So 11 years ago, I was involved in a car crash. It wasn't a particularly bad car crash, but it ended up resulting in my CRPS. I had whiplash and a split lip, and I had physio for 5 months afterwards, I think, and that was pretty much it. But I was left with excruciating pain that I didn't know how to handle. I was 10. I was in so much pain all the time, every day, every minute of every day. I'd fall asleep crying. I would find it so hard to fall asleep. I'd sit there for hours just clutching my neck because I didn't know what else to do. It gave me migraines and really, really bad insomnia, and I ended up missing a lot of school because of it. We went backwards and forwards to the GP, the hospital, and they said they did x-rays and MRIs and said there was nothing that they could find that would show, why I was having this pain. So they basically kind of wrote me off. So for 2 years I was kind of dealing with this pain alone with my family, and that was it. I was taking paracetamol and ibuprofen, but it wasn't really doing much. Well, it wasn't doing much at all, anything. But that's what we did because we were told that there was nothing there that would be causing this pain. We went backwards and forwards, and they basically just said it's a bad case of whiplash and it will go in time. So we kind of, let it run its course, but when it didn't end, we went back again and they did x-rays and MRIs again, and then said there's still nothing that we can find that would be causing you this amount of pain. So for 4 years they basically said, it's a bad case of whiplash, it's all in your head, all that. They even tried hypnotherapy on me. They sent me in to see this woman who gave me exercises on how to go to my happy place, and if I was in my happy place there would be no pain because the pain was imaginary, apparently. 4 years after the car crash, my kneecap dislocated while I was dancing in school. It was a normal dislocation, if you can say that, I don't know. But it dislocated and I put it back in myself because it was in so much pain. I didn't want to leave it out, and I've heard about how dislocations can cause more damage if they're dislocated for a long time, so I just manoeuvred it back in myself. And the next day we went to the hospital. They did an x-ray to see if there was any fractures or if the kneecap was in the right place, which it was, and gave me some painkillers and a brace and crutches and sent me on my way. For 3 years we were back and forward doing physio and going to the hospital and the GP and the doctors and telling them that there was something really wrong with my knee because it wasn't getting better with physio. It wasn't feeling any less painful. It was actually feeling more painful the more physio I did. I was finding dancing quite hard and it was draining and exhausting because I was trying so hard to keep up with dancing when I shouldn't have actually been dancing at all because it was making it 1,000 times worse. The hospital and GP kept telling me that there's no reason for me to be having this pain because they did MRIs and x-rays and they couldn't find any physical problem with my knee. nothing was showing up on the x-rays or on the MRIs, and that I shouldn't be in pain, and that I should just continue doing physio and exercising and putting ice on it and wearing my brace and keeping it elevated as much as I could. And that was basically it. They told me to keep dancing, they told me to keep exercising it, and that was basically what they told me every time we'd go back. One time we went back and they did another MRI, and the surgeon found a tear in my cartilage in my knee, so they went in and operated on my right leg, and that was probably the worst thing that they could have done, because after that everything got so much worse. All hell broke loose when they operated on that leg. Now, when you operate on CRPS, it can make the CRPS in that limb permanent, and obviously at this point we didn't know that it was CRPS, but they did it anyway. If you look through my medical records, you can see that my symptoms that I've described to them over the years, they kind of pretty much add up to CRPS. Like, there is basically every symptom of CRPS you can have was in my medical records, but they didn't look enough to find that connection. But once they operated on it, it was 2,000 times more painful. Now, this surgery was supposed to completely fix my knee. It was supposed to make all of my problems go away. Everything was supposed to be better after this surgery, when in real life it made everything 1,000 times worse. All hell broke loose inside of my knee. This surgery was so important to me because it was going to be allowing me to dance properly again, whereas I had been dancing, but I'd been not dancing as much as I had for my whole life. I'd been dancing 4 days a week after school, and in school for my GCSEs and sixth form and A-levels and everything, and this knee was stopping me from dancing after school. I danced in school, I forced myself to do my GCSEs, I had to do a lot of written work for my A-levels, which wasn't the best thing, and I tried really, really hard to continue dancing for it, but sometimes it was just too painful. Like, I'd end up being sick because of the pain, and this surgery was supposed to fix all that, and I wanted this surgery so bad because it meant that I could go to university and complete a dance degree, which is something I'd always wanted to do, because I wanted to open my own dance school. I wanted to dance in a school, or open my own dance school, or become a dance teacher. So I needed this degree to get there, to do that. So this surgery was supposed to fix everything, but it made everything 100,000 times worse. I did all the physio, I did everything I was told to do, but it wasn't getting any better, and for 3 years after the surgery I was going backwards and forwards. I was to the hospital, I was doing multiple rounds of physio, I was doing hydrotherapy and regular physio and physio at home, and I'd go swimming with the family because it was supposed to help, and it was just getting worse, it wasn't getting better. It was agony. Through all this time, I was trying to complete a dance degree. My first year in uni wasn't as hard as the rest of the years, because the first year was it was more written work and theory than it was practical. So when I needed to dance, I danced, because it was not a lot of dancing, and it was uni. I had to, if I wanted to get this degree, I had to dance. Second year was extremely hard. I was in so much pain all the time. I was exhausted. I was sitting out of more classes than I was probably joining in. I think it was 4 exams. 4 of my exams were written work instead of practical, because I literally could not dance it. It was just causing a whole lot of trouble for my university degree. Third year, at the beginning of third year, my kneecap dislocated again, and this time the ligaments on one side of my kneecap snapped. So on one side of my knee, my kneecap was not attached. So this made my kneecap dislocate whenever it wanted to. I'd tense my muscle and the kneecap would dislocate, and it was hell. It was so painful. So I was on crutches for 6 months in basically the whole of my third year in uni. My last year in uni, I was on crutches, so I couldn't dance. So my whole third year in uni was written work. It was very difficult, and it was sad and depressing, but it was what I had to do, and I figured that this is what I needed to do, because once I completed university, I could, somehow they'd fix my knee. So my whole third year in university was written work and theory instead of practicals. It was sad watching everyone else dance, and it hurt me. So I was going to this surgeon for my old surgeon, the guy who did the surgery on the first surgery. I was going to this surgeon after my kneecap dislocated, and again he was like, we know you've got a problem with your ligaments and that, and we can fix that, but we don't know why you're having this amount of pain, because this amount of pain is not normal with dislocations and ligament damage. And for 6 months we'd be going back to the same surgeon, and he'd be saying, I don't know why you're having this pain, I don't know why you're having this much swelling, I don't know why your legs changing colour, I don't, all these things. And I'd come back to him with a new symptom, and he'd be like, I don't know what's going on. So after 6 months, he referred me to a different surgeon who is a kind of knee expert, and he dealt with these kind of problems. And the thing about this that makes me so sad and makes me so angry, that I was seeing this surgeon, the first surgeon, for 6 months when my kneecap wasn't attached and when the CRPS was really, really bad. The CRPS, with every dislocation, the CRPS became worse, and by the time I saw this new surgeon, the CRPS had spread from my knee throughout my whole right leg, and that was where I was at when I saw this new guy. This new surgeon was literally 10 steps away from my previous surgeon, which is one of the things that really, really hurts me about this whole story, is that this surgeon watched me, the first appointment I had with him, he watched me walk on my crutches into his room, and he said, "Why aren't you putting that foot on the floor?" And I said, "I can't, it causes me too much pain." And he said, "Okay, sit down." And by this point I couldn't have pants on. I had to wear shorts all the time because my skin was so sensitive that pants would just cause me agony. I felt like someone was sandpapering a 3rd degree burn or something on my leg. or my whole leg was burned and someone was sandpapering it. That's how I describe how pants feel. So I was wearing shorts all the time, and this guy watched me walk in and asked me why I wasn't using my leg, and I said because it's too painful to put on the floor. And he said okay. Then he said I've read through your file, and I just want to, I want to give you a checkup. I want to look at your leg and have a little poke and a prod. And he went to touch my leg, and I kind of flinched, and he said, does it hurt to touch? And I said yes, it's extremely painful. And he said, he sat back up, he didn't touch me, he sat back up, and he said, I'm not touching you, you have CRPS. And that was in 2 minutes of seeing this guy. I was seeing one surgeon for 6 months, and he had no clue, and 2 minutes with this other surgeon who was 10 steps away had diagnosed me like that. And he said, I can't do the surgery because you have CRPS. And so I was thinking, okay, well, we'll sort this CRPS thing out, and once that's fixed, I'll have my surgery. But CRPS doesn't work like that. It's not something that it's not something that you can fix, and it's not something that you can cure and it will go away. It's not something that you can do physio and it will go away. But what I didn't know that, so I said, okay, what's CRPS? And he gave me a very brief explanation of what it was, gave me a 2-page leaflet on what CRPS is, and told me to Google it. He said, if something comes up more than once, then it's probably true. If you see something once and never see it again, then it's probably not true. And so that's what I did. I came home and I Googled, my mum Googled, and by probably the first hour into Googling it, I was heartbroken and distraught. I didn't know that it was so serious, and I didn't know that I would, I didn't know that I was gonna have this for life, and that it was something so life-changing. So he booked me an appointment with a CRPS specialist, and I think it was 4 weeks, which is very quick. 4 weeks later, I saw a CRPS specialist at the Walton Centre, and he explained to me what CRPS was, and I asked, but by the time I saw him, the CRPS was in. By the time I saw him, the CRPS was in both legs and my right arm. And he said to me, I asked him questions, a lot of questions, and I asked him, will I ever be able to dance again? And he laughed, which was bizarre. He laughed as if I'd just told a joke, and said, no, you'll never dance again. And so that was one of the first things he said to me. And so my mind was just completely not focused on anything he was saying, because I'd just been told that my dream that I've had since I was 3 was no longer possible. So my heart was breaking, and I was in such shock that I basically didn't hear anything else. So we came out, and I kind of took a few weeks to get used to the idea, and to let all the information sink in. And then he told me that I could book another appointment, a follow-up with him, because he knew it was a lot of information to take in one. So I booked another appointment, and 3 weeks later I saw him again. And the first thing he said was, "I don't know why you're here. I saw you 3 weeks ago." So I was already, a bit okay. So I asked him some questions, and I asked about treatment options. And he basically said, because you have widespread CRPS, there's really, and because of how long you've had it untreated, there's really nothing that we can do that's going to help you now. He told me I should attend the pain management program and prescribed me pregabalin, and basically that was it. So I went to a pain management program assessment, and a few weeks after that, and I was basically denied because I couldn't self-propel in my wheelchair, because I was in a wheelchair at this point, because the CRPS was in both of my legs and my kneecap was dislocating, and my CRPS was in my arm, and it was too painful to wheel myself in my wheelchair. And because I couldn't self-propel, they denied me a spot on the pain management program, and basically said, come back when you can self-propel. So since then, I've had a lot of appointments with a lot of different people. I've tried pregabalin and gabapentin and nortriptyline and amitriptyline, and none of them seem to have been doing anything for my pain. I had a really bad experience with nortriptyline lately, so I've come off that now completely. But so far there's nothing that I've found that is helping my pain in any way. I basically am stuck in my bedroom all the time. I get out maybe once a week, but I am in so much pain all the time. My mood has been really low, and it's been difficult seeing everyone else, it's been difficult seeing all my friends from university go on to graduate without me. And in November of last year, 2017, I graduated with a second in dance practices from Liverpool John Moores University. I graduated in my wheelchair, and it was both a very happy and a very sad day for me, because it was basically marking the end of my dance career, because I can't dance. There's probably no way that I'm gonna be able to dance again. I can't even walk at the moment, so dancing's out of the question for now. But I graduated, and that was exciting, but it was also really, really hard and really heartbreaking. And to see my friends from university kind of, taking the next step in their lives with dance is heartbreaking, and it's really difficult. But, it's something that I've got to learn to live with. And yeah. So the most recent appointment I had with my pain team, I've been doing physio, which is basically just desensitization and recognition therapy, because about a week before my graduation, my right leg lost function completely. I can still feel it, but for all intents and purposes, it is paralysed. I can't move it. I can't get my brain to connect with it. My brain doesn't recognise it as my limb. So I've been doing recognition therapy, and I've been doing desensitization to try and help with the pain that the allodynia, which is skin sensitivity. But the most recent appointment I had was with my pain specialist, who again said that there's really nothing that they can do for me. There's no medical interventional options for me that would work because the pain is so widespread. He also said that there's no more painkillers that they can try, which I know isn't true, but for some reason that's what he thinks. He thinks there's no more drugs that I can try, nothing else that's gonna help me, and he thinks that the next step is still the pain management program. So I emailed them a while back. I got a motorized electric wheelchair so I can, drive it myself, and I emailed them telling them that I have a electric wheelchair now, and they haven't replied to me back, so I'm still waiting for that. But he believes that the next step for me is still the pain management program, and to continue with physio. But basically, in his words, there's absolutely nothing that they can do to reduce the pain that I'm in, which is a very hard thing to hear when the pain is getting worse and worse by the day, and your mood is getting worse and worse by the day. But it's I have hope, and we're looking into getting a second opinion, because I don't think I should have to, I don't think I should have to give up hope for less pain just because one man says that this is my life now. So we're looking into getting a second opinion, and basically that is my journey. It is a very long and very hard and a very painful journey, and the reason I am sharing it is because I want people to know that if you know that there is something wrong with your body, do not let anyone else tell you that there is nothing wrong with it, because the thing that I regret is taking their word for it and kind of letting them influence me and thinking, oh, maybe it is all in my head, maybe I am just imagining it, maybe I am just expecting pain, so that's why there's pain. I mean, I'd be made up if it was all in my head, but it's not. And I really want people to take one thing away from this, and it's, if you know that there is something wrong with your body, then it is your body. You know your body more than anyone else, and you get help for that until you fight to get help until you get help, because you deserve it. Everyone deserves to live a good life, and at the moment my life is not good. It's not a good life. It's agonizing and depressing, but I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna fight for what I need, and I think everybody else should too. So that's my CRPS journey. It's a very long video, so if you've made it this far, well done. And I guess I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.